Welcome to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We're here to raise your confidence and inspire your creativity. Each episode, we will have a different guest who will be discussing our Raise word. The Raise word is a word that will encourage you or empower you and at times inspire you to explore the word a little more for yourself. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We are in season 4 of the Raise podcast. Can you believe it? And we've had some incredible guests and that's not going to stop. And we're starting with a really fantastic guest and a lovely word this time, which is the word wonder. And our guest is Kate Campbell. Good morning, Kate. How are you doing?
Hello, Carol. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Kate, before we dive into what it is to be a creativity curator and whether you really can say that fast or when you've maybe had a drink or two, what does the word wonder mean to you?
Oh, wonder. I mean, it just makes me go weak at the knees. It's kind of a word that is so magical that it almost shouldn't be real. And yet it is also so scientific as well, because we all wonder. Everybody in history has wondered, and it's how we have progressed in the world. But it's also got that real magical quality of daydreaming, of being curious. And I just think it is the precursor to creativity. And we all need to be and can be creative in this world. So wonder is just such a beautiful concept in that we are all able to access it 24/7 and make use of it. I know we're going to talk on about it more, but hopefully that's kind of summarized it.
Yeah, love that. I'm interested in the scientific part. Tell me a little bit
Well,
about that side of it.
yeah, I mean, I'm no scientist at all, but when you think about it, all the great kind of inventors or people who've had a vision in history have all come to that after wondering. Like scientists ask questions, don't they? They come up with hypotheses, they test them. And that has all stemmed from an initial wondering about something. Is this going to be any better? Is this going to cause a change? So in my mind, the scientific aspect of it is so grounded in reality that it's almost opposite to the kind of magical side of it that I think is more prevalent in people's minds. But it's so amazing that both of those things can be encompassed in one word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I love doing is, if you're watching an advert or you're watching a television program, I always wonder about the process. How did they come up with it? And I often say, oh, I reckon they did this because they were thinking about this. And my husband says, no, no. And I'm like, well, they've got to come from somewhere. People
Yeah,
don't just, it's not a kind of as you said, the feeling is magical, but it isn't magic. There is a thought process behind it. It doesn't just happen and appear.
yeah,
And the wondering is the most important part, surely, because if you don't have that curiosity and that wonder and that desire to ask what if, then what's the point in producing
yeah,
something?
yeah. I think, it's that whole thing. It's like a machine, really. If you put the same things into your mind and your brain, the same things will come out. So if we want to progress, if we want to, even find solutions to problems, or we want to come up with some new ideas, we have to wonder about new possibilities, see the world with fresh eyes in order to put new things into our brain so new things will come out.
Absolutely, which is one of the things that I've always kind of wondered about with how much our children um, are using technology and the computer games and the repetitiveness of it, but also makes me rejoice in things like Minecraft and the creative side of that. And I see in my 10-year-old the real differences between when he's had a night playing Fortnite and when he's had a night playing
Mm,
Minecraft and done the creative side of it.
yeah,
There's just a different energy to it, isn't there?
that definitely is. And I think yeah, screens get a bad rap, and we probably shouldn't use them too much, but they are actually really good creative tools that you can give to your kids and use yourself in modern technology. And we have to, in the future, we have to learn how to be creative and how to work with these new technologies um, in order to progress. So it's wondering about the future and wondering about how we can integrate these new technologies and these new ways of being creative that our children are now discovering. They're not all bad, like you say. There's so much creativity that can be had through doing things like Minecraft and other um, and other apps or whatever on the screens that the kids have.
Yeah. Okay, there's obviously lots to unpack around it all, but before we do anything else, tell me a little bit then about what you do and how wonder plays into kind of who you are and what you're doing at the moment.
Um, yeah, well, I'm a designer. I suppose I've had a kind of full creative life. Currently working as an interior designer, but also as the creativity curator, which is the new side to my business, I suppose. So I'm helping busy people, everyday people, to realize the joy that creativity can bring, and also promoting the fact that everybody can be creative.
Yeah.
There's almost like a different kind of creativity. So I'm not necessarily talking about the crafts, about the glue, the glitter, having, the prep and the
We
mess.
must always talk about glitter though, Kate, always.
Well, I'm not saying I don't love all of that. I most certainly do, but there is more to being creative than
Yeah,
just what you do. I always say there's three aspects. There's what you do, there's the inspiration that you seek in the world, which obviously is wonder, the questions you ask of what you see. And then there's the thinking. Creative thinking encompasses everything else in my mind. It's like an umbrella term for the doing and the seeking of inspiration. So I'm really promoting the fact that everybody can be creative if we look at creativity in a different kind of way, and we're looking at it in terms of how we think. So that's where wonder comes in, because it's how we view the world, how we are curious about things in our everyday life, the mundanity of our everyday life. We can still find little moments of joy if we know how to do it and if we consciously have that effort to do it as well. And it can be the fact that I kind of really love the idea of working with busy people who have these schedules and they say, I really don't have any time to be creative, because I would put it to them that there's definitely moments in everybody's daily life, when you are walking your kid to school, you can chat to them in a creative way. When you are, queuing for something, you can start to ask questions about what's around you and be creative in these little snatched moments in between these busy schedules that we have. Um, so the creativity curator and the idea of wonder, which is becoming a really, really important word for me, my membership's called Wonder Club, um, is the fact that everything starts with wonder. And
yeah,
that's relevant to whether you are a creative person, and putting that in kind of speech marks
yeah,
or not. Like I was saying, scientists, mathematicians, whatever profession you're in, you have to think creatively. And it's open to us all.
yeah, absolutely. I remember, um, I love the word wow, really love the word wow. I know Kylie really did it when she did a song and it just went wow, 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 wow. Um, and I wondered about the word wow, and I discovered that, it could be wonder of wonders, that is kind of your wow moment when it's
Yeah.
like the absolute
Yeah.
pinnacle of wandering, and I really liked that.
Yeah, is that where it originates from then?
I don't know, but I created a club at school around it, and it was called Wow Club, and it was about wonder of wonders and creating and
Mm,
wondering and being curious about things, and
yeah. Because
yeah,
there's also that, you know, wonder is a verb and a noun.
absolutely, yeah,
So, you know, a wonder, the thing is something that you marvel at, that's remarkable, that makes you feel in awe, which is another amazing word,
yeah.
WE. Um, yeah, so that's, you know, it's so flexible, is that the right word? For it to be
It's
something.
interchangeable, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
And I was listening to you on your Instagram talking about wonder, and you did talk about um, the other way of the word, the wandering, as in walking. But I often think that the WONDER word is a
yeah,
bit like you are wandering, you are walking through process and thoughts and the what if.
yeah,
For,
yeah.
for me, kind of wonder is, I think it takes me straight into the beginning of a forest or somewhere. That's what I see when I think of the word wander, and a bit Alice in Wonderlandy. Well,
Yeah, Wonderland. Yeah.
didn't even put the two together. Excellent.
But you are wandering into your thoughts, aren't you?
Yes.
And you know, your imagination.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the two words with an O or with an A are very closely related. And I think becoming more interchangeable as well when I've done
Yeah.
a bit of Googling research. But yeah, wander with an O can mean both, I think, definitely.
So
Because
where, oh,
when you're
sorry.
wandering, sorry, when you're wandering with an A,
Yes.
you know, you're going for a wander. It's almost inherent in the meaning that you are exploring somewhere new, you know, like, and that's again, that's wandering with an O, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because a wander is different to a walk, isn't it? A
Oh,
walk
yeah,
feels much more kind of, right, we're going for a walk. We know
yeah,
where we're going. We know where we're headed. Whereas I'm going for a wander is like, I don't know what time we'll be
yeah,
back. Not
yeah,
sure
exactly.
whereabouts.
Might get lost. Let's see
Yeah,
what happens. Yeah, and that's exciting, isn't it?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So where did your love of wonder come from then, Kate? Why are you somebody that wonders, and why is it important to you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that uh, growing up, I wouldn't say my parents were traditionally creative, but when I look back at it, they were creative in a different way. So, um, and always valued homemade gifts, things like that. I don't know how that relates, but in my mind it does.
Mm,
I think because it's always about wondering, like, for example, a homemade gift, what will this person really like?
yeah.
And how can I give it to them?
Yeah.
And if it comes from me, more to do with me than just going out and buying something, then it means more.
Yeah.
I've also sort of been on art and creative design journey myself, and I think that when you first study art, maybe not GCSE because that's still very prescriptive, I think, but when you start to explore in art, you know, I think all artists or all people who've studied art and design have had that opportunity to explore and to play, which is
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
really related word, to play and just to see where it takes us and be like childlike again and have that exploration of ideas. And then as you progress through your degree and then you get a job, you kind of, the funnel gets shorter and you specialize. And often we forget about how much we enjoyed that curiosity and that exploration because we're just working and we're just doing the job. Um, and I think that for people that haven't had that education, if you like, or that experience of being in that world, they have to go much further back to remember what it was like to play and to
Yeah.
explore, which is what we did as kids. You know, all of us loved it, all of us did it innately. And so people forget it. And I think for me, I've almost never forgotten it and
Yeah.
always loved that part of being creative. that initial getting the ideas, it's almost like that excitement stage,
Yeah.
um, gathering the ideas and exploring things. And I think I've just always loved that stage in everything that I've done. So I did it as a kid, I did it when I studied textiles, and I've never lost it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it was basically fostered throughout your whole life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I did creative writing and music at university, and you absolutely had to wonder, like if you
Mm,
produced something that was seen to have been already done, they weren't interested. They
yeah.
wanted the
Yeah.
new
Yeah. Innovation.
exploratory.
Mm,
Yeah. Um, and I think you're absolutely right. And we maybe take that for granted a little bit as people that have done creative things throughout the whole of education, and not everybody has
yeah.
done that,
No.
and not everybody has been offered those opportunities to continually wonder and be curious and
Mm,
have time to do it
yeah.
and get paid to do it,
Yeah.
because that's the bottom line, isn't it? Interior design and your Wonder Club and what I do, we are getting paid to um, explore and,
Yes.
look
Yeah.
at colors and paint and materials and um, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I suppose that's why we're now able to share that with other people, isn't it? Because we
yeah,
have that ability to constantly be inspired and refresh our creativity, and and also really reflect on what we do on a daily basis to keep that level of creativity up, and how everybody can do that in different ways, even if they think they're not creative.
yeah, absolutely. I wonder how much the word no has to do with it, because I think you're talking about the innate curiosity that you have when you're a child. And
Hmm.
even when you're really little, if you hear the word no, if they want to do something, they'll do it. They will break that banana in half to see how many seeds there are, or put the finger in the fire to see if it really is hot. They'll do it, whether you say
Yeah.
no or not. But then as you get older and you hear the word no more and more,
Yeah.
it, it seems to matter more and more, doesn't it? And I think more and more, um, we're told, no, you're not going to make any money out of being creative. So I wouldn't go down that line if I were you.
Mm,
No, it's not worth daydreaming for an hour. Nothing's actually going to happen. No, don't sit in front of a blank sheet of paper. It'll
yeah.
destroy your confidence. Um,
Yeah.
and how important it is for people like us to open the world of yes to people and say, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can make 10 minutes for yourself to be creative. Yes, you can.
Yeah, it's showing people the value in
Yeah,
doing that. Because yeah, daydreaming, it's like, oh, stop daydreaming, get back to work. Actually, daydreaming is such a vital part of work for everybody, I think, when those ideas come. Um, and yet, it's such a shame that people have had that no put in front of them, and almost they've internalized the fact that they can't do that, or that that's not going to work. And yeah, they get to their careers advisor in school and they say, maybe you should steer towards this more academic route, which is going to stand you in,
yeah,
you're going to get a better job. And oh, it's such an outdated point of view,
yeah.
because creative skills are needed in all jobs, and creative industry is one of the biggest growing industries in the country. So we really should be encouraging that more in our children, I think.
Absolutely. And the links to creativity and mental health and emotional intelligence and expression,
Yes.
the government just are not getting it yet.
No.
Just how
No.
important that
Yeah.
is.
There's a massive, massive gap. And I think that, um, even if changes were made, they wouldn't happen straight away.
Yeah,
So for people of our generation with children at the moment, we almost have to be responsible for filling that gap in, by how we teach our children or show our children how we're creative. They learn from example.
yeah,
and almost like subtly getting in those little creative ways to bring the creativity out in them. So it's how we speak to them, how we talk to them. Be a bit silly. Let's just be a bit daft every now and then, you know. That's what life's for living, isn't it? And having kids should be about fun. So I'm all for getting the fun and silliness into being a parent, even if it's just for a split, you know, a couple of minutes when you're driving them to football or wherever, you know, there's opportunities there, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I want to take us into a place where the whole world was pretty much told no for quite a long amount of time, much longer amount of time than we wanted when COVID-19 hit us all, and we seemingly were in a world of no, you can't go out, no, you can't have people over, no, no, no.
Mm.
And yet, I think for a lot of creatives, it did open up a new world of yes, and well, we have got time now actually to dream. What did lockdown look like for you, Kate?
Yeah, I think definitely how you just described it, it was I saw it as an opportunity with my children. So they were, well, how they were maybe 9 and 11 at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
And I think that they were a really good age for lockdown, if you can be a
yeah,
good age for lockdown. You know, they were old enough to um be able to do things by themselves, but not too old that they wanted to be going out with their mates and missing all of that. So, but it was actually a time when I really realized, I suppose, how much I really love creativity and want my children to learn creative skills. And so I definitely took it upon myself to be a slightly different teacher than perhaps the teachers they have at school who are under so much pressure and restrictions and, you know, having to do something in a certain way. We as parents were able to a certain extent, decide ourselves how to teach our children, if that's what if that's what we want to call it.
yeah. Now, I did segue beautifully because I know that you have got a
Mhm.
poem that you've written about it. So,
Yes.
please share your poem with
Okay.
us now.
Okay. I'll try not to. I get very passionate about
Wonderful.
this topic, so I'll try my best to keep it together. So it's called Two Kids in My Class Today. So I am now a teacher. Words I never thought I'd say. There's only two kids in my class, but they sure are here to stay. Should I plan ahead? Should I know what we'll do each day? I should have studied years for this, but I've got the job today. So I am now their teacher, home education no less. Can I make it through each day without ever being stressed? The school have issued home packs, which I'm sure will help us out, but I balk at the sight of all that work. Really? I hear myself shout. How am I supposed to do this? 30 years since I was at school. The curriculum has completely changed, and I don't know the rules. But I am now the teacher, home education no less. Stay focused, take control. I can do this, I stress. A little of English, a little of maths. We'll follow the rule of law. But my mum's school is different, with creativity at the fore. Let's draw, let's sew, let's explore, let's grow. Learn what we can through play. Let's dance, let's make, let's sing, let's bake. Learn skills for the everyday. For I am now their teacher, home education no less. I'm starting to think I could do this with not an ounce of stress. It may be hard, it may be tough when they're telling me they've had enough, but I'll see it through, enjoy it no less. Who said homeschooling would get me stressed? Mum's school, mum's rules. Fun while learning is the key. I'll do some of what the school have said, but the rest is up to me. So, am I really their teacher? Home education, they say. I'm more the person who guides them, lets them learn in their own way. It's a time we'll never get again, a chance to learn from Mum. There's 2 kids in my class today, and we're going to have some fun.
So, Kate, we were just talking about this whole world of know that we were all thrown into, and that beautiful poem really suggests so much more. Yes, the baking, the sewing. And how
Yeah.
did your children respond to that creative gush of energy and yesness?
Yeah, they absolutely loved it. And they thrived, to be honest. They
Yeah,
you know, they had a part. They had a part in deciding, they almost had agency in what we were going to do. Obviously, I led it and I tried to almost do it sometimes on a project base, and I
yeah,
would bring other things in, other subjects in that we'd learn, but it was all definitely very hands-on. And I suppose I felt that we were in a very privileged position to be able to do that, obviously. And so much sympathy with teachers having 30 kids in the class, but it was an opportunity for me, and yeah, the kids loved it. And when it was one of those hot days, and right, the headmaster says we can have the afternoon off, because that was me, you
yeah,
know. Um, yeah, it was great. And although there were horrific, horrible things happening in the world around us, we were all in our little bubbles, literally, weren't we? And I think that for me and them, it was a really time, like I say at that poem, it's a time we'll never get again. And we
yeah,
had to make of it what we were able to make of it. So um yeah, I
yeah.
really,
What?
really enjoyed it. And I feel bad saying that, but it meant that I learned how creative I could be as well. Which has then led on to what I'm doing now. So
Yeah, no, I think it was a gift for some people, and that's okay. It's all right, um, because you're not then keeping that gift to yourself. You're sharing it with others. And one of my favorite memories of lockdown was, um, I can't remember if we'd seen it on a YouTube video or something, but we were talking about music, my son and I think my son was 6 or 7, and we filled up coloured glasses to different levels of water, and
oh
then we
yeah,
played them like a scale,
oh,
and it
really?
was a bit of science and a bit of music, and he had to work out the scale, so he had to, tip the water out, put the water in order to get a perfect scale, and I loved that.
Fantastic. Yeah, and he'll probably remember that forever,
Yeah,
you know. Those memories that were created then will last forever, I think.
absolutely. And I think teachers really feel for the children in that they don't have that time to wander, because even when they're doing particularly in high school, when you do science experiments, some of them really are wonderful, aren't they? They're amazing, the
Mm,
pops and the fizzes and the bangs.
yes.
um but you still don't get time
No,
to
no.
actually sit and revel in that. It's very much like, right, we've had a pop and a whiz, now you've got to write it all up in your book. And
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I
yeah,
think there's time constraints. There's obviously lots of tick boxes which need ticking. Um, and yeah, I think it's just a real shame that that's the where we're at the moment with education. I'm hoping there'll be a shift at some point, but yeah, like I say, at the moment it is how it is, and we have to almost compensate in a way at home, I think.
yeah, I just kind of had a picture come to mind, in that we try and put things in boxes, don't we? And we try and like hem them in. But I
Mm.
don't know if you remember this film. I'm not sure if you're old enough, but the film Flubber with Robin Williams. Did you ever see Flubber?
I don't know if I saw it. I recognize the name though.
So
Yeah.
Flubber is just this green, kind of goo, but it can get under doors and through
Mhm.
things, and it changes shape and it becomes things. And I think that's what wonder is. It actually doesn't matter if you box it in, because it'll get out and it'll it'll kind of permeate things if you let it, if you want it to.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's there permanently, it's not, you can't forget it when you go out for the day. It's in your head. It's a tool that's 24/7 and literally 24/7 because we wander in our dreams as well. They're possibly the most creative times we have, aren't they? You know, so,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's always going to be there in the best way possible.
Yeah.
If we allow ourselves those those little moments or long moments to kind of revel in it.
Yeah. I don't know about you as a creative, but certainly some of my worst dreams have been when I've thought of a really good song and then I've woken up and I can't remember it. I'm like, no, this is not okay. That was a really
Oh,
good song.
yeah, I
Did you ever
know.
have moments of that with your interior design where you've had an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah. I
house?
mean, I do have, I definitely do wake up frequently and write down notes of things that I've thought about while I've been asleep. But it's that whole thing of, and I wrote this in my email newsletter that I write as well, yesterday, that we often are at our most creative or let our brains go into that world of wandering when we're doing something that's mundane or we're doing something, well, sleeping is not necessarily mundane, but when we're washing up or when
Yeah.
we're showering or, these things that require a certain amount of thought process, but not enough to take our mind completely away. That's
Yeah.
when we're often, we allow ourselves to go into that state of wandering. And that's why we then come up with the best ideas at those times, which is kind of a beautiful way of saying that if you're doing something mundane, it doesn't have to be mundane. It can actually be the most creative part of your day, which is
That's
amazing.
that is a real message, I think, Kate. It really is, because when we're talking about these people that are saying, look, I don't have time to be creative, and I bet those people are the ones that wish that they were
Yeah,
saying, yeah, but even a mundane time doesn't have to be mundane. You
yeah,
have, you just want, just it's a mindset, isn't it?
it
I think
is.
it's a permission.
Yeah. And I think initially it has to be a conscious thing.
Yeah,
The more that you do it, the
yeah,
more it becomes subconscious, and that's just how you end up thinking. Um, but it's that regularity, it's that doing it every day. So people can go to a weekly pottery course, or they can do craft every so often while they're watching telly, which is brilliant, and I would wholeheartedly encourage that.
yeah,
But there's times outside of that when you can also be creative by using your thoughts and by entering that world of wonder.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Tell us a little bit about the Wonder Club then. What's that all about?
So the Wonder Club, yeah, and all the people in it who are currently only women, they are my Wonder Women, which I just love.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it. We no costumes not obligatory. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, so it's a group of people who've come together because they want to be more creative, like everything I've been talking about. Um, Within it, I have two sessions every month online, called Unblocker, Creativity Unblocker sessions. They're literally just 40 minutes set in between on the hour appointments. So really, easy to attend. Um, and we just get together and do some kind of really easy creative task, whether that's exploring, you know, doing a quick doodle or a drawing or words or just something that will almost, well, yeah, unblock our creativity, give us that refresh, allow ourselves that tiny window of time, which means that the rest of the day is going to be way more productive. Lots of people have come to it and said, "Oh, I was really close to not coming, but I'm so glad I did because it just meant that I was feeling on a high, like I could take on the rest of the world afterwards."
yeah,
So there's two of those sessions every month. Um, I also send out my weekly wonders, which is a email every week with creative thinking prompts. So sometimes, like we were just saying, I suppose you have to consciously put yourself in the frame of mind to wonder. So these little prompts help you to do that, just give you something to think about when you're washing up or whatever.
Mm.
So they're every week. There's also a bank of ideas, quick fix creativity ideas, which again are things that you can do, when you're driving in the car or whatever, things that you can just think about. And then there is some linger for longer, as I call them. Um, Sorry, my phone's ringing. Linger for longer ideas as well, which yeah, if you want to do something that takes a bit longer, there's ideas there. Um, Also organize inspiration days as well, and there's discounts and off my resources and any events that I run. So, and there's a little WhatsApp community if you want to join that, where we kind of share things that we've seen throughout the days. Yeah, it's a really nice group to be part of. And is everybody's there, like-minded people, I suppose, who are encouraging each other to find these little moments of joy in our everyday lives.
It really sounds wonderful. I mean, it really does. And yeah, I really would encourage people to find out where you are. What we'll do is we'll put all your information on the show notes,
Yeah.
and make sure that people can access that, Kate, because that sounds really, really lovely.
There's also actually it coming soon, probably March. The new feature is a parenting hub as well. So that's a big bank of ideas to do with specifically with the parents to use with kids. Um, because I'm starting a podcast as well, 3 Minute Wonders, which is,
Fantastic.
there's really little silly little things that you
Yeah,
do with kids that just keep that creativity going. So there's going to be an idea given out on the podcast every day, just a 3 minute quick thing. So the parenting hub will have all of those and lots more as well.
love that. That's
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
Exciting.
You you've got one more poem that you wanted to share. Do you want to share that with us
Yeah,
now? Because that's all about creativity and wonder,
it
isn't it?
is. It's kind of like one that, I mean, I wrote it a few years ago, but it's all, and it doesn't include the word wonder, which it really should do now. But it's still kind of my ethos, I suppose, to business and to life. So it's called This Needs to Be Fun.
Mhm.
This needs to be fun. There needs to be dressing up, laughter, adventure, and discovery, experimenting, storytelling, idea generating, feeling great, liberate, inspire, perspire, go the distance, slow the distance, chill, refuel, and go again.
Love that. Love that. That's absolutely brilliant. There's so many bits in that you could kind of pull out and do a podcast on.
Yes, you could use
Slow
every
the
single word.
distance. Really, that kind of with as someone with chronic fatigue, slow the distance is
Yeah, I think there's something to, well, and you can wonder while you're doing that as well, can't you?
absolutely,
It's taking that time to pause, to wonder, to
yeah,
slow things down because we are always in such a rush.
yeah,
Mm,
absolutely.
mm.
Um, we always have a challenge on the podcast for our listeners. So I think a good challenge this time would be to just let yourself wander. So whether you find yourself daydreaming, just take that time to think, okay, no, I'm going to let myself carry on doing that. Or if you're having a thought about something you've seen on television or something that is interesting to you, let yourself just have that little bit of extra time. Kate, have you got anything that you want to add to that?
I suppose sometimes people, it's like if you're meditating, isn't it? And your thoughts get carried away and you might not, your thoughts might not be where you want to actually go. So if you could have something in mind that you'd like to wonder about, maybe it's a problem or maybe it's something you need an idea for. So purposefully start to think about that and then see where it takes you and go down all those avenues because you never know what's at the end of them.
Interesting. Yeah. And remember to have fun. Going back to Kate's poem just a minute ago, do it in fun ways, creative ways, and yeah, it's my word for this year is create joy, and
lovely. I am all for that.
yeah. Absolutely. Well, you're definitely a great person to have kick off our season 4 podcast. And it's been brilliant to wander just a little bit with you. And yeah, looking forward to seeing more of what you do. And I do hope that our listeners will get involved with what you do, because I think it's really important.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Is there anything else that you want or need to say before I finish off with my scary bit, which is creating a poem?
No, I don't think so. Just thanks so much for having me on and to discuss this lovely word, which I feel so passionate about. It was an opportunity which I could not pass up on. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I hope that there's a few more people out there who will enjoy a little bit of wandering today.
Brilliant. Right, so we get to the part of the podcast where I literally throw all caution to the wind, and we just wander into words, literally. So just give me a minute while I have a think. Have a wonder. Cast asunder the sides of the box that hem you in, and find a world of yes. Embrace the mess. Paint and draw, and the things that you saw, have an explore. It doesn't matter what age you are, wonder is for us all, so have a ball. Find your fun, laugh and run, and be a child in every way, so you can say, yes, I am wonderful. There you go.
Oh, wasn't that beautiful?
I didn't know what words would rhyme with wonder, but asunder was quite a nice one.
Yeah.
Or thunder. I will now take time to wonder about words that rhyme with wonder, Kate.
Oh, you see, it's amazing. It's amazing. No, I love that. That was beautiful. I will definitely be re-listening to that.
What I'll do is I always write the poem for the guest and send it to you. So I'll do that.
Thank you. That's incredible.
Thank you so much for being our very first guest. It's been fantastic. And yeah, people listening, please do get in touch with Kate, and remember how important it is to make time to wander and to see what's at the end of those thoughts that you might be having at the moment. Kate, thank you so much. It's been lovely.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.